The message lasted just 47 seconds, and by the time anyone heard it, it was already too late. Somewhere deep beneath the ocean, in complete darkness, a submarine had gone silent. No signals, no movement, nothing, just gone. And then suddenly, a final transmission appeared, weak, distorted, almost like it wasn't meant to be heard. And what was inside that message still confuses experts to this day, because it wasn't just a call for help. It sounded like something was already wrong, long before the submarine disappeared. Now imagine this. You're inside a steel tube, thousands of feet below the ocean's surface. The pressure outside is so intense that even the smallest crack would crush you instantly. There's no sunlight, no way to escape, and no room for error. Everything depends on systems working perfectly, every second, and then something starts to fail. At first it's small, a flicker in the lights, a strange noise, something that shouldn't be there, and maybe you ignore it. Maybe you tell yourself it's nothing. But deep down, you know something isn't right, because in a place like this, even the smallest problem can turn into a disaster in seconds. And that's exactly what seems to have happened. According to reports, the submarine was operating normally. Routine mission, experienced crew. Nothing unusual until communication suddenly dropped, not gradually, not with warning, just gone. As if the ocean itself had swallowed it whole. And that's when the search began. Ships, sonar scans, emergency protocols, everything activated. But the deeper they searched, the stranger things became, because there were no clear signs of an explosion, no debris field, nothing that pointed to a typical failure, just silence, complete and total silence. And then, hours later, that's when the message came through. Faint, broken, but unmistakably human. A voice, speaking from somewhere deep below. And what makes this even more disturbing is not just what was said, but how it was said, the tone, the pauses, the urgency. It didn't sound like a normal distress call. It sounded like someone who had already realized something was terribly wrong. Now here's the question. What could have happened inside that submarine before it disappeared? Because in environments like this, there are only a few possibilities. Mechanical failure, structural collapse, oxygen depletion, or something even less understood. And each one tells a very different story. But none of them fully explain the message, because if the submarine had been instantly destroyed, there would be no message, no voice, no final transmission, which means for some amount of time, they were still alive, still aware, still trying to communicate. And that's where things start to become unsettling, because surviving underwater in a failing submarine is not just about time. It's about pressure, oxygen, and the slow realization that rescue might not come. Imagine sitting there, hearing the creaking of metal under pressure, feeling the temperature drop, watching oxygen levels slowly fall, every breath becoming more valuable than the last, and knowing that above you, thousands of feet away, is the surface, a place you can't reach, no matter what you do. And yet, in that situation, someone chose to record a message. Not just any message, but one that would become the final trace of what happened inside. And that raises a chilling possibility. What if the message wasn't just a call for help? What if it was a warning, or even worse? What if it captured something that no one was supposed to hear? Because the deeper you go into the ocean, the less we truly understand. And sometimes, it's not just the pressure or the darkness that makes it dangerous, it's the unknown. And whatever happened inside that submarine, whatever led to that final 47-second message, it didn't end the way anyone expected, because what investigators later discovered only made the mystery deeper, and the message even more disturbing. By the time rescue teams traced the submarine's final location, it was already too deep, far beyond normal operational limits, and what they found didn't match any standard disaster scenario. The hull was intact, but twisted, like it had been slowly crushed by invisible hands. Sonar recordings picked up strange, unexplained noises, metallic groans mixed with something else, something almost human. And then came the analysis of that final voice message. Experts spent days trying to decipher the garbled words, but even after filtering out distortion, there were phrases that didn't make sense. Fragments like, "It's coming," We can't escape. Hold on. Followed by sudden silence. And what made it worse, the pauses, the inflections, suggested someone wasn't just talking. They were witnessing something. Something terrifying. Oxygen levels were dropping. The crew's breathing was irregular, panic subtly creeping in. But the calmness in the voice at certain moments indicated they were trying to stay composed, maybe even documenting what was happening. So, if you think about it, for a short period after disaster struck, they were alive, aware, listening to the submarine itself reacting under immense pressure, metal bending, systems failing, alarms quietly beeping, every second a potential death sentence. Yet, they chose to leave a record. And here's the haunting part. No one knows if the message captured a natural phenomenon, a mechanical failure, or something else. Something deeper, something the ocean hides. Because the ocean isn't just a vast empty space. It's unpredictable. And it can play tricks on human perception. Echoes bouncing, pressure creating sounds no one can identify. And for those trapped inside, every second stretched into an eternity. Each word of the message a silent scream against the impossibility of rescue. When the submarine was finally recovered months later, the crew was never found. Only the recording remained. A voice suspended in time, a chilling reminder of what happened beneath the waves. And the story doesn't end there. Because during later analysis, experts noticed additional anomalies in the submarine's black box recordings. Strange pressure readings that spiked and dropped without explanation. Instruments showing temperatures that should have instantly melted metal. And occasionally, faint sounds that didn't correspond to any mechanical source. Some describe these as whispers, others as the creaking of human-like footsteps inside the submarine. And though no one can confirm what these noises were, the combination of the final voice message and these anomalies painted a picture far stranger than any conventional disaster. And what's most haunting is imagining what the crew experienced. Trapped in a metal coffin miles under the ocean, instruments failing, lights flickering, breathing getting harder. Yet they still tried to communicate, leaving a trace for the world above, perhaps in their final moments, knowing that help might never arrive. And even after their disappearance, the voice lingers in recordings, echoing the fear, courage, and human desperation of those final seconds. It's as if the submarine itself became a vessel of memory, preserving their last emotions, their last awareness, their last attempt at reaching out. And when you consider it, each word, each pause, each crackle in the message is a window into their mind, frozen forever in the cold, dark abyss. And that's why this story is unforgettable. It's not only a tragedy, it's a haunting record of human endurance and terror. Because in the depths of the ocean, time feels distorted, danger is invisible, and the boundary between life and death becomes almost a tangible thing. Every heartbeat counts. Every breath is a reminder of how close the end is, and even though we may never fully understand what happened inside that submarine, the final voice message stands as proof. Proof that courage and fear can coexist, that human beings, even in their final moments, reach out, document, and leave a mark. A chilling mark that reminds the world above just how fragile life really is, how unpredictable the deep ocean can be, and how sometimes the last voice you hear is the only thing that bridges the gap between life and oblivion.